Hello, today we're moving on to a completely different area of the home economics course. I'm delighted to say this because it says we're making fantastic progress. So the section we're moving on to is called the Home Design and Management area. Now, just to take a quick look at the layout of the home economics exam so far. So we know that the home economics paper is divided into three different sections. We have section A, we have section B, and we have section C. Now, section A is totally devoted to short questions. And for Leaving Cert 2025, you're going to have 14 short questions and students must answer 10. Then we have section B. Now, section B, we're required to answer 3 long questions. So first off, we have question 1 on section B, and we know that this is a compulsory or obligatory question, whereby every student will have to answer that question. And here you're going to have to know your nutrients extremely well. You'll have to be able to analyse a table or a chart. And then there's always a 20-mark part at the very end of the question, which is usually something that's relevant to everyday life. Then we have to answer 2 other questions from 4, and they are 50 marks each, in comparison to question 1B, which is 80 marks. So we have question 2, question 3, question 4, and question 5. Now, generally speaking, we note that question 2 will always be on some aspect of the food studies course. That doesn't mean per se an actual food. Most of the time it will be on the food groups, meat, eggs, fish, cheese, etc. However, we did say vegetarian has been asked in 2018, in 2022, in 2009. We know that heart disease came up as question 2 in 2007. We know that in 2011, 2021, diabetes and sweeteners. But it could also be on any other aspect, but that has been so far. Question 3 is also on the food studies area, but we'll notice a pattern as we're going through more topics, and that is microbiology, if it were to appear on a long question, tends to be on question 3. Say, for example, bacteria or molds. Yeast has never actually been asked as a microorganism on a long question. Then we have other things like food processing, packaging, labelling, sensory analysis, Irish food industry, potentially a food studies question here. Question 5 is usually sociology. We're going to call it the core. And then today I want to focus here on home design and management. So you are guaranteed 100% that the home design and management questions will definitely appear here. Now, a lot of students like this section, others not so much. What's fantastic here is you have to answer 2 out of 4 of the 50-mark questions. So if you wish, you can have it extremely well prepared, and you know going into that exam you have a plan and you will definitely be answering question 4. Also, can I say to you that of the 14 short questions that we will look at in 2025, question 1 to question 9 will be on food studies, but the remaining 5 short questions, which a lot of people are not aware, from question 10 to question 14 inclusive, they will come from the home design and management area. And finally then we have section C. Now section C is made up of 3 electives and a question for the core. It's worth 80 marks, the same way question 1B is worth 80 marks, and your short questions are worth 60 marks. And then you've got 2 50-mark questions which are worth 100 marks. So we're looking at in total here 320 marks for the long questions. We've got 80 and 80, 160, 260 for the 100, and then 60 for the shorts, and that's your 320. Now, there are choices on section C. Elective 1, Home Design and Management, would be the area that I would normally have studied with my students. Second elective is on textiles, where students make a garment, and then a lot of students would have done sociology or social studies as part of the elective. However, on our programme, I am focusing on what is called question 4 core. It's a new question that was added on after the lockdown with COVID, and it's basically questions from the core, i.e. more of the same kinds of questions we get on long questions on section B. And as I keep saying to students the last couple of years, why would you take on a whole new area, a whole new elective like social studies or home design and management, volumes and volumes of new information, when it would be much more, I suppose, astute and clever learning if you were to focus on more of the same. Do X amount and do it extremely well. So that's what we're going to be covering when we're going through our revision. So they're the 3 sections of the written exam paper. Now, I want to draw out here the part on, this is not liking me today for some reason. Now we'll go again. I want to draw out the home design and management topics. So I'm always asked, what topics come up on the home design and management area of the core and consumer studies? So just a reminder that question 9 to question 14 of the short questions will come from these topics, and question 4B will come from these topics, and thirdly, question 4 the core on section C, part B or part C will come from these topics. Now, what are the topics? There are actually 5 of them that make up this area. So we're starting with consumer studies. There are a number of different sections and chapters, but we're going to put them all together into 8 little videos. Then we have household technology. On our course, we're expected to know 4 different appliances: the microwave oven, 1 refrigeration appliance according to the syllabus. So you have a choice of either a fridge or a freezer. Then 1 appliance based on a motor. The choice is ours. I have chosen a food processor. And then 1 appliance with a heating element and thermostat. A lot of schools, I think, choose electric kettle. I have chosen the deep fat fryer. Then we have what's called resource management. Some students find this quite difficult, but we'll absolutely simplify it. Then fourthly, we have a section on textiles. It's just 1 chapter. It's part of the core, and note, it has never been asked on a long question. So I'm going to mark it there. And finally then we have the finance topics. So in summary, what we have here are the areas of the home economics exam paper where we're going to see either one of these topics or usually a combination of these topics. On question 4, the core, on section C. On question 4, the 50-mark question on section B. And finally, there will be 5 short questions devoted to these 5 topics, which are again consumer studies, household technology, resource management, textiles, and the finance topics. So the next day we're going to start with our first of these 5 topics, which happens to be consumer studies.